Hello, my name is Val. I've been learning languages since I was, I don't know, consciously. I learned Greek when started learning when I was 21. I already spoke Italian and English. So I have a certificate to teach English, and I also help people with Italian. Uh, One thing I learned is that you never stop, you never stop learning a language. It's a continuous process, even in your own native language. Um, and in order to learn a foreign language, before getting into what you really need to do, there are two prerequisites. Prerequisites. Um, you need to like the process, and you need to have a strong motivation. The two things go hand in hand. Um, there are many reasons why we learn a foreign language, and funnily enough, the most funny ones are the ones that work. What do I mean by that? Somebody who needs English for work, will he more likely to succeed? No, because very few people are able to consciously succeed in something that they really don't care about. It's very difficult. It can happen because humans can do mostly anything, but it's not something that common. That's why sometimes people sometimes succeed in learning strange languages. The thing that goes for English, I mean the thing that is positive at that is you are in a situation where everything is in English. So to learn English, you don't use another language. Everything is in English, and that should be for each and every language. You should skip English to learn a language if your target language is not English. Okay. Obviously, I'm using this and I speak about Assimil, and there is other language beside, but you read the first time the notes, and then I always, when I review, I always read the Turkish part and I skip the French part. Obviously, French is not my language, I understand it, but even if it was in Italian, I prefer to be exposed to the target language than to be exposed to language that speaks about the target language. So, you need to have strong motivation, you need to like the process. Some people would like it anyhow. I mean, they're so into this that they can go through material that for other people is boring and tedious, but they can. Not everybody. So the problem is, so what can I do about being exposed to the language in a way that is not bad for me? If you get a good book, a textbook, a good method that has also the audio part is very important to have the recordings. And the people who made this made it in a quite not so serious. There's a word in Italian, seriosa, serious-like manner. I mean, for example, I have several assimil. I have the ancient Greek. I have the English that I used when I had to use it because I helped people with English, and is progressive, has short stories that many times are supposed to be funny. Okay, there's not a lot of grammar. This is very important. The grammar as a conscious studying is the last resort. So the idea is, first I see things in a context, and for example, assimil doesn't show you immediately the whole conjugaison of the verb, but starts when one person, two person, present, the plural, and then first the present, the second, and maybe the first, the plural, and then add up. So you don't have to be exposed to the whole conjugaison that is can be intimidating. Also for declinaisons for languages that have declinaisons, and that's a good thing. So after 7 lessons, there is a grammar recap. So, okay, some people need it, some people need it as a reference when they have a doubt. But the problem is, the idea is, you shouldn't have many doubts about grammar, because if you've been reviewing all the material, it should be ingrained. I mean, really, if you have a doubt about grammar, I say where this, and you review the lessons before. The grammar is in the lessons, is in the text. And sometimes I review grammar and I go back. I find there are references where it was introduced, this verb, this form, in what lesson, and that sticks into your mind much more than the conscious draining. So my idea is, I learn grammar 90% through text, and I review, yes, now and then, grammar, but just to check if I absorb the grammar. If there is something, okay, this I don't remember, where is it? Where did it come up? In what lesson? And I review it. So it's more like checking if I absorb the grammar rather than learning through text that explains to you. So many people don't want or don't think this works. This is classical method. No, assimil and other books are not the classical method. You mean you have simple text, there's a translation, and there are notes. It's not the classical way of learning languages. Should you go to a school? You don't really need that. I mean, if it's near where I live and it's for free and the lessons are pleasant, why not? But 99.99% of the cases, that is not possible. Some people, I don't know, I'm getting out of the limb. Some people really need that because they're not able to manage on their own, You will never be proficient or fluent following courses, language courses, because the idea of language courses, and you should be addicted. They don't like to, okay, I taught you the basics, and I taught you how to go about learning foreign language. From now on, you can go on your own. That's not in their interest. They want people that always stay with them. I always follow another course, and pay for these courses. So I'd say one thing you can do, but there's not for many languages, if there were basic videos where in real life you see the language and they are gradual, and there is a whole like mini TV series, you could learn through that. Unluckily, that's not something that you can find, because you need money to do that. You need a good language expert to graduate everything and put everything. You need money because you need a real life context, and in time you need, for example, to teach you some words. When you're more advanced, you need to show if you, and sometimes, for example, going to the zoo or to the supermarket and showing the animals or the products, and it's very important. One time I saw a Turkish video, that was a track of it, where somebody was in a Turkish supermarket and spoke about the products and show the package and show all the food or the other things, and it was very well done. The concept was very well done. So I'd say there's a first part. You have to make the grade, so you need to be able to understand simple language. I'm not speaking about understanding 80% of spoken language, because even 20 or 30% of real life, real speed is very difficult. You need to be able to express basically anything in a very simple way. Don't expect to think things in your language and express them with the same accuracy and precision in the foreign language you're learning. You need to learn to say, I want to go to the station, waiting for my friend here, I'm quite hungry, I want to eat something. You have to go straight and then turn on the left. All these things, so you should basically be able to speak with a 2.5, 3-year native speaker of this language and understand everything and have a similar level. Obviously, a native speaker, even when he's 3, it will have more, how do you put it? The accent will be better, and they will speak in a more natural way. It's normal. You're learning a language. You cannot be so natural. I strongly recommend this. Not making pauses is very important. You can speak slowly, like I'm speaking now in English, but you have to speak continuously. You should hem and hum like That's very annoying. I see some people on the web that speak a foreign language and they always say That's an alarm. If you always do that, obviously we do that also in our native language when we have to think, we are not sure, but not only in some circumstances. If your language is full of these pauses, something is wrong. So try to speak slowly and speak continuously. One thing that I noticed, and many students, when they speak the foreign language, mainly if they have been listening to a lot of material that is too much for their level, they have this tendency to speak faster for their level. So if it's like with music, I don't play a piece of music fast if I'm not ready for it. It would be full of mistakes. Okay, in a language, in a learning of a language, you make mistakes. But when you have to practice a way of speaking that is quite understandable and without major mistakes and pronunciation mistakes, you should speak slow, not overly slowly. Not I want to go to the toilet, but to say I want to go to the toilet like this, or I want to go to the toilet. Most people are not ready with the right pronunciation, so I'd say I want to go to the toilet. I want to go to the toilet. That's a quite middle of the way speed. Okay. So having a textbook is fundamental. Spending a lot of time on the book and listen to the recording, checking your progress, record yourself, read the previous lesson and see how much you can understand, how much words you understand, and sometimes even have the text in your language and see actively see what you translate in a way match with the text and the tactile language. Obviously, I strongly recommend avoiding like a plague videos where people want to teach your language and they speak for the most time in the language that you already know. If I want to learn Greek, I have to listen to Greek. I don't like people, the present is like this is nominative, genitive, accusative. That's not the way you learn a language. You have to get an insight of the declinations having texts that are made in a way that you can have an intuition, okay? Intuit the meaning. That's very important. Speaking with native speakers can be a double-edged sword. If you're not ready, you will be frustrated. Not everybody is ready to have a very simple conversation. Even I can teach a language to somebody who doesn't know a word of this language without using any other language. I use what realia, real objects. At the beginning, you use real objects. You can teach a lot of things. You can teach numbers, you can teach colors, you can teach even verb with movement. In Greek, this, okay, potiri, potiri, potiri, kutali, ena, potiri. I teach now or not, and then I can teach full, empty, showing something is full, something empty. I don't give you the translation. That's very important. Obviously, the book it would be. I also recommend picture books, and even making your own picture. This is English. Don't be scared to buy things that are conceived for children. And I'm putting all the Turkish words. So, saç, burun, yanak, ağız, dişler, dudak. So I see, and the impression is much stronger. So The thing I do is with native speakers, they're learning the language, I show pictures, I pronounce, and he pronounces back. It's very important for me. So I'm not ready to have a conversation, but you get a lot. Pronouncing back, when you hear, you get a lot of pronunciation, you can have feedback. And that's very important because pronunciation is very important. If you don't learn pronunciation at the beginning, you're not going to learn that afterwards. Because what happens, you already absorb the language in your own way. It's very difficult to correct. It's easier to go slowly and learning the language the right way. That doesn't mean I have to speak perfectly. I mean, I will never speak exactly like a Turkish person, but I can reduce the amount of non-Turkish pronunciation and accent in a significant way. Some people say, oh, I will never be like a native speaker, so I speak as I want. First of all, people, maybe they don't understand or they get tired when they listen to you. So, first of all, the basic bricks of the language are single sounds should be right, and then there is prosody, the musicality, the rhythm, and that's a little bit more difficult. I don't go for perfection. You should strive for perfection, and you get a level that's 7, 8. If you start striving for 7, 8, you're gonna end up having a level that is 5. So let's have high expectations. And another thing, let's have a high expectation on the long run. Many people have a high expectation in the short run. So, sorry, there's something to drink now. You can learn a language in 4 or 5 years if you every day devote 40 minutes, 50 minutes, 1 hour, 45 minutes every day in an intelligent way. You can achieve a pretty high level. You can watch videos, shows in this language, news, and understand 85%, 90%. I know it's 5 years, 4 years. It takes time. Children need at least to have a quite, I don't know, speak quite fluently. Obviously, they start speaking 1.5 first words, but it takes 5 years for a child that is supposed to be like a sponge, is completely immersed in the language. So it's obvious that you want to learn fast. Problem is that you have to learn in a such focused way that is can put you off. So my understanding is it will take 1 year to get the basics and speak and get understood. Having a partner that's in front of me that speaks slowly and I speak slowly, and if I don't find the right word, I know other words. I can explain the thing with a turn or phrase. Many people tread water for years, more than 5 years. If you watch on the internet, some people have been learning Greek for 5 years and have a huge foreign accent. First of all, it depends also on the language you're learning. If the people who speak the target language expect you to be good, so don't tell you, oh, you're very good. I don't believe in that. You're going to believe that you're very good and you're not. So don't base your assessing your level on people, because many people don't tell you the truth. Greek people tend to overestimate your language level, because they don't expect foreigners to be good at Greek, and that's another story. So that's why people don't learn Greek very well, because they can get away with it very easily if they don't speak well. Turkish people, I mean, are more prone to speak to you in Turkish, and they expect you to speak the language. And at the beginning, it can be intimidating, and you feel like, but in the long run, that helps, and they don't judge you immediately, but they try to make, that's my experience, they try to have a conversation in Turkish even if you're not very good, and that's very important. Immigrants, they went to Turkey and to Greece, in just, if they stayed in Turkey for 1 year, they learned the basics of the Turkish language. They went to Greece and stayed there for 1 year, then they didn't learn Greece, because Greek people speak to them every time in English, if they speak English or whatever. And so if people of your talking language don't have the tendency to speak to you in the language, don't use English. Use the language, pretend don't you know English, use the language, and they keep on speaking English. You say, I don't want to speak English in the language. At least you should say that. You should be able to say that. İngilizce konuşmak istemiyorum. Detto una milo anglica. It's very important. Don't be, I mean, many times you have a language exchange and you end up speaking English because neither speak the other language. Try from object, try from, it can be even funny, like children. Ben, sen, o, ben, blah blah blah blah blah, ben konuşuyorum, sen konuşuyorsun. Obviously my Turkish is bad, but you understand. I say I'm speaking, he's speaking, you are speaking. You can teach a lot of things through gestures. Not all gestures are common in every language, but if you do this, if you do that, if I say this, most of the times, I mean, sometimes it means I'm crazy, but it means also I'm thinking, always something. You can teach a lot of things, parts of the body showing. Dactyla, ena, dio, tria, tessera, pende, ena, dio, tria, tessera. There are a lot of things you can teach. So many people don't know that, and they start using English. Oh, that means that, that means that, that meant that. It's not a conscious memorizing process. It's a subconscious. At the beginning, the thing is, at the beginning it's conscious. There comes a time where it happened with me in Turkish, some words are, bloom, jump to my mind immediately. I don't have to retrieve the word, and the time that I need from the moment I hear the word to the moment I really understand the word, it's immediate. The immediate understanding of single words, obviously the patterns of the word, makes you understand the language. It's a good starting point. So you need to be exposed umpteen times to the words, and if it's in real life, is it with images? If it's you're speaking about the sound, then listen to the sound, because not everything is an image. Sometimes it's a smell. Obviously, you speak about shit. Okay, you don't need to smell shit. Okay, but if you have a walk with somebody who's a native speaker in town, in the nature, it's a huge occasion, chance to learn many things, and these things will be absorbed better. The stronger the impression, the stronger you retain, you remember, or the second, the third, the fourth time you will remember easier. If there are 3 or 4 exposure that are meaningful. Okay? So meaningful is very important. If you watch things, you listen to things, you're exposed to things that you really like. And you like the language, you like the sound of the language, and you like the idea of speaking that language, you're motivated, you like the process. I don't know if you have a stronger, surely stronger grasp of the language. I strongly recommend not to speed up. That doesn't mean the process, it doesn't mean you need to be lazy. But knowing all these things that I told you, you buy a good book with, I don't say necessarily Asimov, but a good book that is progressive, is gradual, and you don't have a lot of grammar, and the grammar and most of the things you learn through the text. Another thing, even you come up with a new word, there is a translation. Put the word on the web and see pictures and see what's going on. Sometimes even before checking the translation. So if I say, what is the last lesson? What the word? No, it's not this. Tatil. What's tatil? Now we know. Let's see if I put the pictures. Okay. Pictures. What I see? I see beaches, trees. Okay, it's not easy to understand this. Vacation. But what do all these pictures have in common? Hotel, Italy, so it's not the sea necessarily. Tatil.com. Yeah, I mean, you can understand it's vacation or holidays, but when you spend time trying to learn the word, okay, you can also try to see in Turkish or in other language you're learning, and now we're referring to Turkish, with the words that you already know the meaning in the same language, so monolingual dictionary. These are things that work. So I'm not against using books. The books should be as similar to a natural approach to language. So avoid books that have a lot of grammar with graphics. I don't find the right word. Sorry, I have a brain fart. Tables, no. Lists of things can be helpful. This every 7 lesson, there's a recapitulation lesson. Don't jump from one method to the another method to another method. I mean, if you want to buy 2 or 3, then decide, or you go to the store. Before there was books shops and you could, too bad now everything is they should sort of coexist, real life and virtual life. Too bad we tend to go towards virtual life and we skip the real life. Real life, when it comes to language learning, is much more effective than virtual life, because the way we are wired, we evolved in real life, not in virtual. Maybe in 40,000 years it would be the opposite, but for the time being that's like that. So if you want to embark on this project of learning a foreign language, be also a little bit carefree. Don't have a one-track mind. Don't be. You should not believe that as a chore. Okay, I mean, I spoke long enough. Goodbye.